Welcome to the first video tutorial for digital media studies, and we're going to be working in Illustrator today. So this video is just going to be a quick review of why Illustrator exists in the Creative Cloud, why it's different from the other programs, and then we'll go over the interface and how to set it up for our projects this semester. So the main thing to understand about Illustrator, and yes, I just opened Photoshop, is that the difference between vector and raster is important to understand. So for Photoshop, which you've used, you understand that an image is made up of a bunch of tiny squares of image information, of color information to make up an image. And there's a limited number of those squares. So you cannot create pixels, create information from nothing to create an image. So if you needed to make this image large enough, you would start to see the pixelation. Even if you add pixels, it just sort of makes like a blurry edge. It doesn't actually add more information. It just kind of cuts the information that you have to create more pixels. So Photoshop is based on pixels, that's raster, and Illustrator is generally based on, and you can include images in Illustrator files, generally based on vector. And what that means is that the images are based generally on, they're based on points, curves, and mathematics. So a small image can be scaled very large just because it's created with a math function. And I wanted to share one way in which we like to use Illustrator. It's really convenient, and Photoshop has artboards too, but it's really convenient for creating systems of images that all have different sizes but need the same components. So here we have a bunch of web banners for Meliora Weekend. They're for a bunch of different websites. So we had to fill these different spaces with the same type of information. It's also really great in the case where you need to see a bunch of things right next to each other. So if you're making a system of icons, or if you're making an application for mobile, or for for tablet, what have you, it's great for web design. So this is definitely a great program for web design and also for posters. So that's what we'll be working on. So if you open up Illustrator, if you have Creative Cloud, this is what your interface should look like. If you don't have Creative Cloud, don't worry about it. Most of the tools that I'll be sharing should be in the older versions as well. And the ones that I'm sharing that are only part of Creative Cloud, they're not totally necessary, but they are helpful. So yeah, this is what you get when you open it up. You have old files you've worked on, some common file sizes to get started quickly, and you have to create new or open a file that you already have. So in this case, we're gonna open a new one, and I'm gonna go to the print tab here because we're working on posters, so we're printing these. I'm changing the unit of measurement to inches. I'm calling this practice. Oops, excuse me. And the width will be 11 inches, the height will be 17 inches, since we're doing 11 by 17. I'm going to keep one artboard for now, and we'll talk about bleed later. And then just say create, just for a bit of practicing. So this is the interface, also known as the application frame. And what you have here is a bunch of tools on the left-hand side. And we'll get into each one of these. Across the top is the control panel. The important thing to know about it is that it changes based on what tool or what types of objects you have selected. So if you have a text box selected with paragraph type in it, it will give you options for changing that type. And then the right hand side is the panel. Right now it's compact, but here you can wing it out and then see all of the different panels I have open now. This is my preference for this class. This is how I'd like it to be set up. I think this will be easiest for editing the work that you're doing. So I started with Essentials Classic, and then I changed things around a bit. So my Essentials Classic now looks just like this. And so if you select Essentials Classic, you could select any of them and just add them manually. This is where the panels come from. Yeah, so sorry, just to pause and go back. The menus across the top are pretty standard. You can change preferences here. The one I most work in is the units. Sometimes you need pixels, sometimes you need inches. Um, then this is document things like new. We'll use new, save as, export, place, and package. And then edit things we'll do mostly with key command. Object things we'll do mostly with panels. Type will be mostly in the panels. Select will be with your mouse. Effects will be in the panels. So it's a lot of the stuff that you will see over here is available up here as well. And it's kind of like how you want to work in Illustrator to find these things. So whatever you feel comfortable with. There's 1,000 ways to do the things that I'm showing. And so if you find a different way that works for you, I encourage you to take that route. Feel free to just explore and do your thing. But I'm just sharing the way that I think would be the most efficient to get started, to keep things sort of simple for you. So again, all the panels that you see on the right hand side can be found in this Windows section of the main menu. So I'd like for you to try and set it up this way. And like I said, you can start with Essentials Classic. And to remove a panel, you can just click it and drag it off and then exit. And then if you want to add libraries back, you just go back to Window, select Libraries, and add it back up in here by dragging it. So I have layers, artboards, links, and libraries. And libraries is a Creative Cloud element, so if you don't have that, don't worry about it. And then for the next one, character, these would be more for typography. So character, paragraph, and glyphs. This is for color, so swatches, gradients, and color guide. Then this is stroke, transparency, and appearance. And I'll go through what each of these are. And then transform, align, and pathfinder. So go ahead and get your interface set up this way. And the next video will be getting into the tools and panels and how to use and adjust tools and objects in Illustrator.